Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Alan Badeau. Welcome to another great show of AI Today. Here we're exploring how AI can be applied to businesses, how you can use it to save a lot of time, and even in your personal life. And we're also looking at some of the nuances and some of the challenges that we run into often when we're trying to deploy AI into our system. And this week's show's a little bit different. We're gonna have one of my favorite guests on the show, Miss Jen Godet, who's gonna help us understand, even from the business side, some of the ramifications and challenges that we may run into, and of course some of the opportunities, so that you can actually use it to gain a strategic advantage. Now, we all know, and I've said this many times, that AI can impact any type of business really anywhere in its maturity, and it is a huge game changer if it's used the right way. Now, there's been a lot of negative press out there about companies that are starting to pull back on some of their AI investments, or companies that are not getting as much ROI as they expected. Now, we've talked about this, and if you've watched the show, then you're already ahead of the game, because don't overpromise, don't try to do too much with it. Really pick your battles and where you want to deploy it, and if you follow those simple strategies, you're going to be very successful. Now, one of the important things that we're going to look at with Jen as we walk through some of these opportunities is, how do you pick a tool? How do you figure out what you want to do? How do you figure out, what your team is going to do with it after you've chosen one? And so those are some of the basic business decision topics that we're going to look at. We're not going to necessarily dive deep into the technical. We've done that a couple of times, and we'll continue to do that. But in the next show, we're going to look at how we can take, our normal processes, how we can make a good choice, and which one do we choose? Because, quite honestly, everybody has to walk through it for themselves. They've got to figure out what's the best thing that's going to work for their business. And we always say, not one tool works for everything. And so Jen's going to help us from the human side to look at, the processes and how you adapt, some of those things. We're going to talk about how do you make sure you hire the right people, because that is a challenge. There's not a lot of universities that are teaching, really what I would call practical AI. And by that, I mean, how do you deploy it into a big environment? How do you use it? How do you, operate it, really productize, AI? They're teaching them a lot of great stuff, how to develop algorithms, how to develop software around that. But oftentimes, like challenges that we've had in the past, we forget that there's a human side to AI. That's really the only way that we're going to be successful, especially in business, right? I mean, it's trying to make sure that we've got the right pairing of the human with the AI, and it's the exact same thing if you're trying to bring AI into your business so that you can use it. We're going to talk about, look at some of the basic programming things, and what decisions we have to go through to arrive at that, and then also, how we can really compound it, add a whole bunch of AI things together to solve a larger problem. And so the human element for today's show is really going to be driven home, and we're going to work through that with Jen. Now, taking a step back really quick and looking at some of the non-technical requirements that are going to be out there, I always tell people when I hire folks, I am looking for really, the non-technical skill sets as opposed to the technical ones. And why is that? It's because, AI is so new. I'm going to teach them the things that I want them to know. So think about that. If you've got a great organization, you already know where I'm coming from on this. The realities are that I want people that can solve problems. I want folks that are creative. They've got to have some sort of innovative, capability, in there. And then also they've got to be able to communicate, because the realities are, if you can't communicate with a human, it's a lot harder really to communicate with AI. And the reason is because, we talk about prompt engineering all the time, but it's hard to get the computer to do what you want it to do. ChatGPT and some of those other tools that are out there, Cohere's, like I said, Cohere and a Claude and Perplexity and all those other ones that are out there, they're fantastic at really helping the human along to drive some of the messages home and help with prompt engineering. And heck, I know ChatGPT and a few others have help me with my prompt type capability now. And that really has gone a long way. But I am going to teach the folks that I hire how to use the AI, how to use the tools that I have, how to develop around the tools that I've developed, and really how to make sure that the human is in there. And there's a lot of skills, and it doesn't matter what the field that you're in. It's pretty much all the same, right? Because there's always going to be some nuances and some specialties that we're going to look at. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, as well, and then looking at some industry, specific knowledge on, really, applying it to, certain types of fields and those sort of things. So today's show is really going to lay the foundation for that. These are topics that we could spend, 3, 4, 5 shows on, and we may, as we deep dive in some of those things. But, the primary goal of today is to say, okay, you know what? I know I need AI. I know I can use AI. I know I can save money. And I know the people that I can have them do so much more work that, it's kind of silly for me to still be on the sidelines with some of those things. Now, of course, it depends on, your industry in some cases, or on the government side. I get that. But it's trying to figure out, how do I, one, not scare my employees to think that, they're bringing in AI. That means that our days are numbered, right? That's usually the first response that we often get. And, you can understand that from a variety of perspectives, right? Because, one, oftentimes managers don't communicate very well. And so when you bring in something that either they don't expect or that is a new technology, that's always going to be their first conclusion. And so, how do you communicate to your team that, you're bringing AI in for a specific reason? And that's so that you can really expand in your market and do more without having to go hire a bunch of people. That's one of the first challenges. And then it's like, now that I have AI, in there, how do I get my team to embrace it? How do I get them to use it? How do I make sure that there are folks that are not trying to sabotage the deployment of AI simply because, they didn't get a choice, they didn't have a say in the tool that was picked? There's a million different reasons out there why, but, we all know that sometimes those are going to be the folks that, no matter what you do, you're gonna have a challenge on your hand with the human perspective. And so, walking through some of those ideas and what you have to do in order to really make sure that everybody in your organization is bought in. Huge challenge, very difficult from the human side. And we're gonna talk through some of those things. And then also, how do you really organizationally use it to its full potential and to get the most out of it? Now, I can tell you from my experience, when I first brought in, AI into my organization and previously in some of the other ones that I worked at, it really was a challenge at times, and not just, technical. The technical parts were easy. Picking the tool was pretty easy. You go down through, you've got a whole bunch of checklist things that you wanted to do. And when it does it, you say, yeah, that's great. It can do that. Or this other tool can't, so it's out, right? That's pretty cut and dry. And it's easy when you're human to say, oh, no, we don't like that tool, or it's gone. We're not using that. Easy. But then when you have humans that you're going to want to use it, then, of course, that's where the barriers will often, really pop up, and you've got to be careful in how you do that. And so, we're going to talk about, after a tool has been chosen with the team, then, what's that process look like that you're going to roll it out and that you're going to use it? The realities are that the first time your team hears that there is, a new AI tool that they've already selected and that they're already bringing in, you're in trouble. There's no other way to put it. You're in trouble. You've not embraced the golden rule of AI for humans, and that's letting others that are going to use it have a little bit of say, have a little bit of some ideas on how they would want to use it. If you don't get buy-in before you are doing that, you're going to have some challenges. So we're going to deep dive into that, and I think that's going to help a lot of folks, really get past that first step and saying, okay, what do I do first? Is it the chicken or the egg? Is it the AI or the human? Is it the tool or, the boardroom? Whatever. We're going to give you some tips and really try to help you, overcome some of those, and really some lessons learned on the best way to do those sort of things. And then the last piece we're going to look at is, how do executives of an enterprise really start to make sure that they understand how their team is using it as well as how they're using it themselves. I'm lucky enough, the CEOs that I've worked with in the past, very technology forward. They loved it. They would use it. They play with it. As much as I would, and that's a huge advantage. But it's really hard though if you're a technologist or you're on a beta, or a your first deployment team inside the company to understand sometimes what the CEO is thinking if they haven't even tried some of those tools. So it's really focusing on how to get the executives to buy into it, to use it, and to really showcase it from the top down. That's going to be a huge important thing. And then also, as you'll see, people with different personalities have different ways of using the AI. And in some cases, they feel more empowered. In other cases, they're a little bit more gun shy because they have a hard time sometimes picking an answer. They get surrounded. They want more data. Well, guess what? AI is going to give you a lot of data. And so being able to really help folks pull that answer out, look through all the AI data, overcome some of those challenges is going to be key. So stay with us. We've got an exciting show for you this week. And, Jen Godet will be with us, and, stay tuned, and we'll see you in a few.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
¿Tiene un carro, camioneta o SUV viejo en su casa? Aunque no funcione y piense que es chatarra, usted puede llamar al número en pantalla y donarlo a Susan G. Komen para ayudar a salvar una vida. Nuestro personal calificado va hasta su domicilio a recogerlo de forma totalmente gratis. La donación de su automóvil, camioneta o SUV viejo ayuda a apoyar a las personas afectadas por el cáncer de mama. así como también al trabajo vital de Comen en investigación, atención al paciente y educación. Necesitamos su ayuda. Tal vez considere que su auto viejo es chatarra o que no vale nada, pero ese auto no deseado es importante para que Susan G. Komen continúe ayudando a las personas con cáncer de mama. Llame al número en pantalla hoy. Iremos a recoger su auto rápidamente. También recibirá una deducción de impuestos por su donación caritativa. Ayúdenos a ayudar. Llame ya.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Welcome back to AI Today. I'm your host, Dr. Alan Badeau. We're talking about AI. The great thing that we've done is we've really started to integrate and show folks how it can really be used live, on your different activities, inside of your business, how you can save time and how you can do, a lot of other things with it that, ChatGPT just can't do. And so, I've got a lot of emails, a lot of questions about, what else can we do with AI in our business, or just some general ones around, what are some of the impacts of that. And so I'm lucky enough to have one of our first guests that we had on the show. Jen Godet is back with us, and she's going to help us do that. Jen, thanks for being here.
Absolutely a pleasure.
So, Jen, we have seen some negative publicity recently around businesses that have tried to use AI, have not done very well with it. What do you think, from a high level, the biggest reason for that is?
Well, there's a couple of things that I see in failed applications here. The very first and the biggest is they didn't have a strategy to begin with. And by that, it might be they didn't have an overarching business strategy and understanding of what they wanted to achieve with AI. Rather, they just wanted to throw AI at a problem and expected a magical solution. But the reality is if we don't start with a solid business strategy and have an understanding of where we're going, and then look at that strategy and ask ourselves, what operational efficiencies, or where do I want to accelerate this or improve this? Either it's time, revenue, human capital, what have you. If we don't have an understanding of the strategy plus what we're trying to improve, then we don't know, and we're basically throwing spaghetti at the wall with an AI application. So it really comes to, we require a strategy first, and it's okay if you don't have that. There are people like myself who do this for clients all day, every day, is establish full business strategy and then also incorporating and marrying the AI strategy to the business strategy, because you have to understand the business use case that you're trying to solve with the application. And the other big problem that I see, Alan, and I know you and I have talked about this before, is they're not set up for success. They don't have great data. They don't have SOPs, or they have outdated SOPs. And let's be real, if we're making an inefficient process more efficient, that's really not going to solve a problem for us.
That's right.
It's outdated. So I think those are the biggest fails that I have personally seen.
So on the flip side of that, though, what are some of the biggest successes that you've gone through with some of your clients? You've been doing this for a while. You've got a fantastic reputation out there. I know your time is in demand all the time from some of these companies. Was it a specific vertical that you were helping somebody with, or was it a specific task? What can you tell some folks that are gonna give them a little bit of confidence that they're on the right path?
Yeah, so as far as industry, I'm fairly industry agnostic, but most of the people I've worked with have been in professional services. Why? Because professional services are very knowledge based. So think engineering, legal, medical, financial, private equity is a space that I've had some successful integrations in and worked with. And it's that way because we sit down, we understand what are we looking at and what are the bottlenecks in our business. So say you have all the ducks in a row, you have great SOPs, you're totally ready for an integration. It really comes down to what are the bottlenecks in our business and how am I going to reclaim the most time or human capital or improve my bottom line by operational efficiency. Those are the questions that we ask, and we always implement. And the most successful implementations have been the things that free up human capital and time first. And let me tell you why. Because it's counterintuitive. A lot of people want to go for what's going to have the bigger financial bang for your buck. However, time is money. And if you find an application that's going to free 50%, 70% per employee's time on a task, you are literally multiplying your ability to do volume, whether it's the predictions and the financial piece of private equity and being able to source and sort through deals and screen them much more rapidly, or whether you're in medical and you're saving time and getting that pre-authorization or whatever you need on the billing side more effective, efficiently. I mean, we had a medical practice with 17 clinics that integrated that whole clinician practitioner to submission of insurance and was able to save 7 FTEs across their clinics. And instead of having to hire and train, now he was able to put those people, he was able to promote them and put them in other growth phases of the business. So that's really where we've seen the success. It truly is a per business use case scenario, and it comes from understanding where you are, where your bottlenecks are, and then also we like to say what are the next 3 bottlenecks that occur when you integrate this, because a lot of good it does to pour leads into a business if you don't have anybody to sell. So that's kind of how we approach it, and we look at it and we solve for not just that bottleneck, but the next 2 or 3 down the line, so we have a successful flow, input and exhaust.
Yeah, that's great. I think one of the other challenges too, and it's great that you are also a coach, right? Because there are human aspects that owners, that business investors have to face when it comes to using AI, integrating it the right way, making sure they don't micromanage the AI, because you're going to spend twice as much time then as you did before. So what kind of advice do you have for business owners when they are really going to take that plunge and jump into it?
Well, the first part and the biggest mistake that I have seen that you can easily mitigate is the top dictating it and not communicating with the end users. You have to get the messaging across and be transparent that this is the direction you're moving in, and mitigate fears of your team members who are going to be leveraging the tool. And if that doesn't happen, 100% of the time, it's cost more time, more money, and sometimes been a failed integration. So getting buy-in for the people who are going to leverage the tool is key. And this requires open, transparent conversation, and a lot of times bringing someone else in, because fear is the biggest hurdle. And let's be real. I have people do a self-assessment. Does your team come to you vulnerably and openly all the time with all of their concerns? And the answer for most managers and leaders is no, because they're afraid they're going to lose their job. And even though we don't retaliate or whatever, there's always a little bit of fear there. So bringing someone outside, whether it's myself or someone else in during this process, can be invaluable, because you get that objective perspective and you're removed as the leader. You get the real nitty gritty of what the fears are, the apprehensions, and what level your team is from a skill set, and what training will be needed for a successful integration. So I think that's a consideration to definitely play into. And then the other thing is, we have a lot of fear as entrepreneurs because AI is new in small business, relatively speaking. And so there's a lot of concerns, and that requires letting go, which is already the hardest thing for entrepreneurs to let go. But it
That's right.
requires letting go of control. And 9 times out of 10, an excellent coach can help you with that. It's a mindset shift. And if you're struggling with that, or you're feeling like you want to micromanage, as you said for Alan, it's time to get someone in to help you overcome whatever is causing you to have that iron grip and that micromanaging aspect.
Yeah, that's a great perspective on that, because we see that all the time. You forget about the human aspect of these things because you think that the AI is just going to be able to do it, and it's going to be fantastic, and it will be if folks do it the right way. So that's an important thing for everybody to keep in mind, is they're really trying to gain that strategic advantage over their competitors. Jen, where's the best place for folks to be able to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. I recommend, if you're looking for more business, I have a show here on this network. It is Power CEOs. We air on Mondays, I believe 5 Central Time. You can check me on that, but it's Now Media. And we interview leaders and industry leaders and bring real business content. And you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's Jen Godet. You'll see me on there. I am responsive. I am the only one who holds the keys to that DM as well. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation.
Yeah, and I really encourage our audience to go out and look, because Jen is extraordinarily active. I don't know how she has that much time to really pull that off, but great material that she puts out there all the time. Very knowledgeable in this space, and you can gain so much from that. With that, thank you, Jen, for joining the show. And with that, we'll go to a commercial break.
Hi, I'm Vicki Wright Hamilton, and welcome to Ignite. Are you ready to fuel the fire within you and ignite your passion for leadership and business growth? This show isn't just about tips and tricks. It's about transforming your ambition into unstoppable momentum. We're here to spark the strategies that set your soul on fire and help you blaze a trail of success. Whether you're building a startup or leading a team, Ignite will empower you to turn your vision into a powerful reality. Fuel your fire, ignite your passion, and watch your success take flight. Tune in to Ignite right here on Now Media TV.
What if you could make a free phone call and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Right now, you could be paying as high as 20% interest. Your new interest rate could be reduced to as low as 2.48%. You can refinance any existing car loan or leased car and save money every month. Take 5 minutes of your time right now. Make this free phone call and learn how to save hundreds of dollars a year by refinancing your existing car loan.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up,